the Revolutionary Guards not only can hit all U.S. bases in the Middle East with their ballistic missiles, but also reach most capital cities in Western Europe. The Guards, with the help of China and North Korea, are working on intercontinental ballistic missiles. But more dangerous to America, as reported last July, is the Guards' actions in arming their vessels with long-range ballistic missiles and their expansion of their mission into the Atlantic Ocean right into the Gulf of Mexico. Now listen to this, folks, very interesting. Any Iranian military or commercial vessel easily could get right outside the U.S. coastline and in less than 60 seconds fire a ballistic missile armed with a nuclear payload and detonate it over the U.S. skies, an electromagnetic attack that will plunge America back into the 18th century. This is called the electromagnetic pulse. They call it the EMP. And what it basically is that they will explode this over the United States at a certain level, and it will literally wipe out any electronics whatsoever. And studies have shown from our own government that within just 1 year after such an attack, 2/3 of Americans would cease to exist, and the rest would live under dire conditions. Folks, we are so connected to the grid, so connected with anything electronic, anything that has a positive and a negative force to it. Every battery, every car, every device that you and I are dependent on would suddenly stop, which I'm sure any of you that's experienced a bad storm knows that, you know, a month of it you can make it, but 5 months, 7 months, a year, I mean, it would get to be pandemonium. No way to deliver goods from parts of the country. Everything that has any type of motor or anything like that is gone. Now, we just need to be aware of this because of what we're going to be talking about tonight and where this is leading us. You've got to understand, Islam is very serious. They believe so much in their cause that they're willing to die. They're willing to strap bombs on themselves and blow themselves up. They're willing to get in airplanes and fly to kill themselves to take out as many Americans or as many Jews as they can. They are consumed with it. Their religion is a religion of death. And to them, that is the only way they can guarantee in the eyes of Allah to have any hope of making it in to paradise, because Allah is not a God of love. The word love does not appear one time in the Quran. The only way that Allah is appeased is by jihad, holy war. And if you lay your life down in jihad, then you will win the favor of Allah. So imagine the fastest growing religion in the world being consumed with that. And they are filling the state of Ohio. There are major Islamic cell groups throughout this area, and that's another topic in and of itself. Ahmadinejad said these words: God willing, with the force of God, the force of Allah behind it, we shall soon experience a world without the United States and Zionism. So this is the consuming desire of one of the most threatening issues to America right now. Now, I want you to understand that just a few months ago, in New York City, on our own ground, Ahmadinejad appeared again. He's done this now almost a half a dozen times at the UN. I want you to listen what he says before the leaders of the world. Now, every single time Ahmadinejad has spoken at the UN, at the assembly, he has addressed the leaders of the world, and every time he opens up with a prayer to Allah and an appeal to Allah to send forth the Mahdi. And every time he closes his speech, he does the exact same thing. That is his consuming desire. Let me read to you what he said back in September, just a few months ago. This movement, he's wrapping up his speech now, before the leaders of the world, okay? This movement is certainly on its rightful path of creation, ensuring a promising future for humanity. A future that will be built when humanity initiates to trend the path of the divine prophets and the righteous under the leadership of Imam al-Mahdi, the ultimate savior of mankind, the inheritor to all divine messengers and leaders, and to the pure generation of our great prophet. The creation of a supreme and ideal society with the arrival of the perfect human being who is a true and sincere lover of all human beings is the guaranteed promise of Allah. Now listen closely. He will come alongside with Jesus Christ to lead the freedom and the justice lovers, to eradicate tyranny and discrimination, and to promote knowledge, peace, justice, freedom, and love across the world. Now, let me just say to you real quickly, according to the Islamic belief, Jesus will reappear after Imam Mahdi shows up, and he will be Imam Mahdi's prophet. Now keep in mind, the Bible tells us that the Antichrist will show up, a man of peace who loves all humanity, just as the Islam religion teaches. This Imam Mahdi will sign a 7-year peace covenant with Israel. He will bring about a world dictatorship. He will have an associate as a prophet. Remember, the Bible talks about there's 2 beasts in Revelation 13. One is the Antichrist, one is the false prophet. This, in the Islamic realm of thinking, Jesus is going to come back and convince the world that Christianity is a false religion, and that Islam is the true religion. Now, anyway, let's go on to this. It says, he will present to every single individual all the beauties of the world and all good things which bring happiness for humankind. Now, I want you to understand, folks, that there is a spirit, as we talked about last night, there is a spirit of deception on this teaching. And what's the guy that's doing that movie Taken to the, what is it? Liam Nelson, who many people have really admired because he was the voice of Jesus or supposedly Jesus, Aslan, in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and which that's a whole nother subject. That's craziness, but I won't even go there tonight. But anyway, he just announced that he is seriously considering converting to Islam. And there's something about this, folks, because think about this for a minute. Here is a group of people who have openly declared their life is consumed to get rid of us. They want to destroy us. And yet, since 9/11, there has been an explosion of conversion from Americans into Islam. At the same time, there was a mockery of Jesus Christ and a display of hatred unseen in our nation's history of the Bible and of the biblical God. Now, what's happening here is Ahmadinejad is speaking before the leaders of the entire world, trying to convince the world, listen, let us bring forth the man of peace. Now, why I think this is interesting, folks, is because when the UN was established, the former chairman of the UN made an amazing statement. And listen, if you don't listen to anything else I say right now, you got to listen to this. We do not want another committee, he says. We have too many already. What we want is a man of sufficient stature to hold the allegiance of all people and to lift us up out of the economic morass in which we are sinking. Send us such a man, and be he God or the devil, we will receive him. Now, I think that's very interesting coming from a chairman of the United Nations. Because I've got news for you, folks. Every time that statement is read, you can guarantee the devil is licking his lips because he intensely wants to bring forth this man.